Al Simmons' Spawn is the most recognized when it comes to the anti-hero mantle. But did you know that before there was Spawn, there were many other Spawns? Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we'll be exploring the extensive Spawn universe, and even slightly multiverse, as we get to know some of the other powerful Hellspawns to have existed in the comics as we count down the top 10 most powerful alternate versions of Spawn. Let's get counting. Number 10, Christopher Welland, or Kid Spawn as I like to call him. I don't know if that's like an actual term that we've ever used, but yeah. Christopher is one of the lost souls who is kept within Spawn's heart. He acts as an ally to Spawn and later goes on to kill the serial killer Billy Kincaid. His story is that he ended up dying but was preserved by the Man of Miracles, who promises, while appearing as the Green Lady, that he will save Chris and one day return him to his mother. Save. It's not quite what happens, but still. The Man of Miracles keeps his promise, and his mother is then able to move on with her life, getting the closure she needed after her son's death. So he saved him more to just be like, he's still around and you can move on now, but he's still dead. But either way, Chris would be needed by Spawn, and so the Man of Miracles sent him there. Christopher has some of the powers of a Hellspawn and is able to use his costume as a weapon and save Spawn by helping him to remember his true identity. Christopher first appears in issue 150 of Spawn, and he's got a pretty interesting story arc if you want to check it out. I think you should check it out, it's pretty interesting, in my opinion. If you think the things that I think are interesting, you should check it out. That's what I'm gonna say. Number 9, Chibi Spawn. Chibi Spawn appears in the comic Spawn Kills Everyone, a story featuring the Chibi version of Spawn attending what appears to be San Diego Comic-Con. They refer to Hall H, so yeah, to discuss a new Spawn movie being released. He is super confident that his movie will blow every other superhero movie or TV show out of the water. But when he comes up against patrons and cosplayers attending the con who don't seem to acknowledge his greatness, he kills them in cold blood, echoing a scene out of Deadpool. He even makes a comment about his victims being dead in a pool of blood. Get it? Dead pool? Deadpool. Dead and pool are also very largely printed. Comic jokes. His most powerful moment though is probably when he goes on to take out his own creator, Todd McFarlane, who he kills for insisting on how cute Chibi Spawn is. For some reason I want to say that Todd McFarlane is actually not the creator of Spawn and that I said that name wrong. I wrote it just from my mind, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. I'm questioning everything. I feel like it's because there's a few McFarlanes in the world, is there not? Who's the other McFarlane? Seth MacFarlane. He's the one that makes all the shows and is Family Guy and stuff, right? Are Todd McFarlane and Seth MacFarlane related? That would be so weird. I don't think that's a thing. Number 8, Hellspawn. Hellspawn comes to us from a spin-off series and is technically Al Simmons, but I'm almost certain features a version outside of the main continuity. I'm pretty sure this is outside of the main continuity. Hellspawn was a series written by Brian Michael Bendis and Steve Niles, with art by Ashley Wood and Ben Templesmith. It offered a much darker look at the world of Al Simmons and the enemies and victims he would be involved with. Pretty surprising, really. I mean, how much darker can Spawn get, you might ask? It's already a pretty grim and often disturbing world and series in terms of the various events and villains depicted, and just how metal it looks. Like, it looks really metal. Can we all agree? I think we all agree on that. Well, you need to check out these alternate adventures for the character to really find out just how much darker it is. Even the artwork should give you an idea of how much darker this take from the early 2000s was. I mean, just look at this art. It's literally dark. It's very dark. We're talking Marvel's Runes levels of dark, friends. Number 7, Medieval Spawn. Medieval Spawn was Sir John of York in life, a medieval knight. He made his first appearance in the Spawn universe in issue number 9 of Spawn. Medieval Spawn would go on to team up with another badass in a Witchblade crossover in 1996. Oh yeah, Spawn and Witchblade, two awesome badass characters. Medieval Spawn would team up with the medieval Witchblade, if you will, Katarina Godliff. How fitting. He helped fight alongside Katarina during the invasion of the elven world of Fairy. Both he and Witchblade banded together to defend the realm and fight off the invasion. Image also released another team up later on titled Medieval Spawn and Witchblade, though this version is quite different, with Medieval Spawn being known by the name of Leith in life, or Lythe, who became ensorcelled and betrayed his king, and the Witchblade being a young girl named Star Starling, who finds the artifact and who, it's implied, comes from a long line of witches herself. Medieval Spawn only ranks so low because the original version from the 90s at least happened to walk into a trap laid by Hellspawn hunter Angela while he was still getting used to his role as a Hellspawn. Don't worry though, Medieval Spawn still lives on despite being slain, as he's since been resurrected. Which I feel like happens a lot in Spawn, people getting resurrected. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this Spawn list and you want more Spawn lists, please let us know and we will give you more Spawn lists. How can you let us know? Subscribe, comment, like, all of those things tell us that you enjoyed the video. The end. But not really. Number 6. War Spawn. Captain Thomas Coram was an English soldier and has ties to Al Simmons' family later down the line. But before any of that transpired, he also fought in the First World War. War Spawn made his first appearance in issue 179 of Spawn. We'd later learned that he had a secret love affair with an African American woman, which was considered taboo at that time in history. They had to hide their love, but his paramour Selma ended up leaving after having their child Michael. She basically couldn't deal with the fact that they had to keep their love a secret, and she was like, tell me you love me or I'm gone. So she left. Michael would eventually grow up to become a soldier and ended up serving in the First World War under his father's command. Unable to stop Michael from joining the army, Thomas promised Selma that he would keep their son safe. It was after Michael died that Thomas made a deal with male Bolgia to become a Hellspawn in exchange for his son's life. Michael's family line would eventually lead to Wanda, Al Simmons' widowed wife, who was therefore Thomas's descendant. Haha, the connection! Number 5. Gunslinger. Gunslinger is one of the most popular of the alternate Hellspawns to exist. He made a deal in exchange for getting revenge for his murdered family back in the day. Gunslinger Spawn is Jeremy Winston, who before he married his wife was a preacher. For the most part, he was a peaceful sort referred to by the nickname of Old Job. But after the death of his family, he made a deal with the fallen angel Mammon and became Male Bolgia's servant. He got revenge for their deaths, but also killed every single person in the town except for one, which Mammon had forbid him from harming. Gunslinger Spawn made his first appearance in issue 119 of Spawn. Number 4. Lord Covenant. Before the Spawn of the medieval ages, there was the Dark Ages Spawn, and if you thought medieval Spawn was dark, wait till you meet this guy. He went by the names Black Knight, Dark Knight, or Lord Covenant, because his name is Covenant. You get it. He was originally a well-respected ruler named Ian Covenant, who went to go fight in a holy war seeking redemption for having an affair with his sister's most lovely handmaiden. I don't know why I added that qualifier, most lovely, but she was lovely, so I just call it like I see it, I guess. However, during his time away, he would die and end up making a deal with Male Bolgia that he didn't fully understand and later became reincarnated as a Hellspawn. This version of Spawn first appeared in Spawn: The Dark Ages, issue number 1. Number 3. All New She-Spawn. While Nyx was the first one to take up the mantle as She-Spawn, Jessica Priest wears the moniker now, and she looks good while doing it. Jessica Priest wears the moniker and the looks of it now, and boy does she wear it well. Jessica Priest is one of the world's greatest assassins who would end up being recruited by Jason Wynn, and in a twist, be the actual person responsible for killing Al Simmons. Aha! At least, we think so. That whole part of Al Simmons' backstory has kinda gone all over the place, truth be told. Retcons galore over there. Jessica, when she was just 5 years old, ended up admitting to burning her house down with her parents inside, and was found roasting marshmallows on the fire when the police came to get her. Yeah, that's the kind of level of crazy assassin she is. She believes it's her responsibility to take out all the jerks in the world, which is why anytime she's been released from prison, it usually results in her killing a bunch of people. There are, after all, a lot of jerks out there in the world. Recently in the comics, Jessica resurrected Nyx after finding her dead, and in so doing, also somehow became the new She-Spawn. Number 2. Cogliostro. If we're talking about willpower and smarts, Cog has to be one of the most powerful versions of Spawn around. Cog was a Hellspawn who refused to give up his life to Male Bolgia once his powers were drained. To avoid this, he always held on to one last sliver of his power, and refused to use it until he could find a way to free himself. Cog became the mentor of Al Simmons when he first returned to the world as another Hellspawn. Long ago, Cog was known by the name Cain, and has had many other famous names throughout the years, including Faustus and Merlin. Cog is the same Cain, by the way, from biblical lore, the first killer who slew his brother Abel. His greatest ambition in life was to rule Hell, which was what he also did when he betrayed Spawn in issue 120, seizing the crown of Hell for himself. Number 1. Omega Spawn, or Lord Omega. This is an alternate version of Al Simmons himself, one much darker and much more powerful than the original, at least at a glance. Omega Spawn was a version of Al Simmons who was given unlimited necro power and reign over Hell by both Melbolgia and Satan, and he is from another alternate reality, if you will. Recently, he is mentioned in Spawn's universe in issue number 1, where it seems he has some plans for all the Spawns running around in the universe. And if you're wondering how he got here, he was sort of dead but then brought back to life, so he's back again, and he was also brought over to the main continuity. So yeah, that all happened if you were out for a while. That's what happened while you were out. In Spawn's universe issue number 1, he has those who serve him set out to capture and confine these other alternate Spawns, well, including original Spawn, who's not really an alternate. And as for the alternates, it's Cog and Gunslinger who are up and being imprisoned. Fortunately, Spawn and the Gunslinger get away, but time will only tell what Omega Spawn is planning and what he wanted the other Spawns for. Which alternate Spawn is your favorite? Which Spawn would you like to see more of? Are there any alternates that you'd like to see get a film or animated series all of their own? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, thanking you as always for watching and reminding you as always to stay nerdy. He would team up with the medieval Witchblade, if you will, Katarina Godlife, how do you say that? Katarina Godlife. What do you say when there's 2 F's? I'm gonna say Godlife, because if it was life, there'd only be 1 F. That's what I think. Didn't look up how to say this before I came in, and it's important.